What do we know about Mars? We know that it's the fourth planet from the Sun. It's named after the Roman god of war, and it's also known as the Red Planet. This is because the iron oxide, which is also known as rust, on its surface gives it this distinctive red color. Mars has an extremely thin atmosphere, and although it does have an axis tilt similar to Earth's, it doesn't really have enough atmosphere to retain heat very well. So the planet experiences wild swings in temperature from about 20 degrees Celsius at the equator to negative 125 degrees Celsius at the poles. It's also home to some of the solar system's most dramatic features, including the largest volcano in the solar system, Olympus Mons, and the vast canyon system Valles Marineris. Its north and south poles are each capped by an ice cap containing frozen water and carbon dioxide. There are also many regions that are covered in evidence left behind from when Mars was much warmer and wetter. Scientists believe that billions of years ago, Mars had a much thicker atmosphere and with it, much higher levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Also likely had a much warmer climate, and that it was home to rivers and lakes of liquid water. Some of the riverbeds and lake basins are so well preserved that we can even see them from orbit. One of the most important things that we're looking for on Mars right now is water. We know that there's lots of water ice on the planet, but we don't know if there's any liquid water. And one of the holy grails of planetary science is finding out whether or not Mars has any liquid water, either on the surface or below the surface. That's because wherever we find liquid water, we're increasing the possibility that life may exist there. In addition to the water, Mars also has two moons named Phobos and Deimos. They're both quite small and oddly shaped, which is likely the result of the fact that they were both formed from debris that was left behind after a larger object crashed into Mars in the past. Although Mars is a very cold planet, scientists think that it might have been much warmer in the past, and that it could have been habitable for life as we know it. We know that there's water on the planet, which is essential for life as we know it. We just don't know if there's any liquid water still present. The search for life on Mars, either past or present, is one of the driving forces behind planetary science right now. Robotic missions to Mars have returned incredible amounts of data about the planet, including high-resolution images, data about its atmosphere and composition of the soil and rock. The rovers that are currently on the surface of Mars are literally driving around collecting samples that will eventually be returned to Earth for us to analyze. There are also plans being made for human missions to Mars, although these are still many years in the future. There's a lot of talk about sending humans to Mars and setting up a permanent base there. The crew of the first Mars mission will likely be arriving sometime in the 2030s. Did you know that Mars has seasons like Earth? This is due to the tilt of its axis. The tilt is almost exactly the same as Earth. And as Mars revolves around the Sun, different parts of the planet receive varying amounts of sunlight, causing the seasons to change. You would experience much weaker gravity on Mars compared to Earth. You would weigh about 38% less on Mars than you do on Earth. If you were on Earth, standing on the surface of Mars, watching the sunset, it would look blue. This is because Mars has a very thin atmosphere, and as the sun sets, the light that's scattered through the thin atmosphere leaves the blue light.